Day 59 of my kickboxing journey. I have a fight coming up in February. Well, we've submitted my name for it, but no one has come up in my weight just yet. Nobody wants to smoke just yet, but there is a fight event, an amateur and pro fight event at this gym, February 22nd. And we've submitted my details. We're just waiting for an opponent, but it looks likely because I'm at like a pretty average weight, so I should get one. So have about 1 month till my first ever fight, and I've been training incredibly hard. This is a Sunday. I think we'll upload this on the exact same day if you're watching this on a Sunday. And trained. It's a Saturday. Sorry, and I've trained twice a day, Monday, Friday. Today we'll just train once in the morning with my coach James. We're also going to spar someone new today as well. What James has started doing is, because I spar him like every day, and obviously I get used to his movements, we get used to each other. So he started hiring people to spar me, which, I'm very grateful for it. It feels a little bit fucking cool, I'm not going to lie, because he'll find people and then pay them to do rounds with me, just so I can just fucking practice on them. So it reminds me, because I remember reading a book or watching like a documentary about Mike Tyson, and the story goes that he would insist on knocking out his sparring partners, like he would insist on not sparring lightly. So his trainer, Cus D'Amato, his trainer would have to pay people to spar him. And it's not really like that with me. Like, I'm not like knocking motherfuckers out or anything, but yeah, it just made me smile when I heard James was paying people to spar me. So yeah, that'll be in about a month's time will be the fight. But yeah, today we'll do one session and then I'm just gonna rest up. For the last week, I'm not gonna lie, it's been the hardest training week so far, and yeah, I've actually sustained it really well because my sleep for the last like 10, 14 days has been really good. Unfortunately, the last like 3 nights in a row, my sleep has been like considerably worse, like maybe a little bit better than what it normally is, but now I can feel the difference. It was quite like really good sleep in the last like 2 weeks, and just the last few nights I've been like tossing and turning. It's been like warmer in my apartment, my air conditioning is like not as cool, so it's not been as nice. Even I woke up today, I'm feeling like fuck me, I didn't really sleep enough. I was tossing and turning constantly, so not not ideal. But again, like I always keep saying, as long as you're doing the habits that you can, for example, you're going to bed at the same time, you're not eating super late, maybe you're not working an hour before bedtime or so, you're just like doing something a bit more relaxing, like reading. If you're doing your habits and you just don't end up sleeping well, then it's like you shouldn't really be like upset at yourself because you've done what you could. Sometimes sleep is a bit random as long as if you've done the habits, which I have done. So we're just going to take the L. I'm not like 100% today, but I've done what I can though. Cheers, bro. So I believe this is going to be day 59. But we actually had a day that went out earlier this morning, which I privatized, and I released the next one. Basically, there was a day where I started off talking about like this book that was like the best book I've read in years. And just the mic quality wasn't so good. I didn't pick up on that. So I scrapped that video, and I'll explain what I was talking about then in cases, because not many people saw that video before I scrapped it. So there's a book that I've just finished reading. I was reading over 100 pages. I think there's about 300 pages in it, and I read 100 pages a day, so I finished it in 3 days, which is pretty phenomenal when you can read a book for like sort of 4 hours a day or whatever. And the book is called Grit by Angela Duckworth. It turns out that this one trait, grit, correlates with success more than basically any other trait you can think of, more than your genetics, more than how much money you've got, more than how many... just basically all the things that you think correlate with success. This one trait actually correlates with it more than basically anything else, which is just grit. And grit is, it's staying interested in the thing, and then also having the perseverance to not quit after setbacks. When you think about it, it's kind of like common sense. Like, what's the most important part of success in an area? It's like, well, doing it and then getting a little bit better and then not quitting. If you just do that, you'll be a master at some point. Like, you'll inevitably be a master if you keep improving a little bit and you just don't quit. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a common sense statement, but it's a lot of the common sense sort of easy things that we often avoid or we overlook. And the reason why I got interested in it was because I I realized that grit is basically the opposite of the sort of ADHD tendency that I have. So hang on, I've got some shit in my eye. You've probably seen this in me. I have like this sort of tendency to change things, to reset things, to change direction, change my idea. One moment, this goal or this project is really important, and then the next, I'll literally just cut it short and I'll stop the next one and the next one and the next one. And you know, when I was in university, I had this Polish flatmate, and me and him would go to the gym together. Like I was like, I mean, we were both like quite into the gym. We weren't like muscular or anything. You know, we were just like 1-2 years into it, and I would go on about whether I was bulking or cutting, but I would change my mind if I was bulking or cutting. Basically, every single day, I would make the decision again. Every single day, I'd be switching and thinking like, oh man, but like I want to bulk, I want to get big. Oh no, I want to get lean because it makes you more attractive. Oh, I want to bulk. Oh, I want to get lean, and I'd switch it all over and over again. Never sticking to it for longer than like a few days at a time. So it became this joke because me and him would wake up kind of early, like 7 a.m. and we'd get ready. We lived in the same kind of flat in this like student accommodation. And so when I would leave my room and we're both ready for the gym, he's got his gay little weightlifting gloves on. He'd be like, "Hey Hamza, are you bulking or cutting today?" And he'd like give me a little dig like with his elbow like that, to insinuate like he's roasting me for being inconsistent. And it's such a jackass, but he was right. It was a joke between us of like, "Oh hey, have you decided?" Loads of people just stopped then. I think maybe someone had a bad crash. That should be fine. There was loads of people on the road are like looking at something in particular, so I'm assuming someone just crashed then. Hope they're okay. Yeah. Yeah, so just being like inconsistent in things. So grit is exactly what I feel like I need. But in this book, there's a questionnaire, and I urge you to do this right now. Just go onto Google and search like grit questionnaire or grit Angela Duckworth questionnaire or grit Angela Duckworth scale. One of those will bring it up and you'll know it's the right one because they'll say it's by this woman who's like the researcher, and it'll be like 10 statements that you have to agree to, like you have to rank and say which number you are. Like 1 is like, yeah, I agree with it, and 5 is like, no, I don't agree with it. You know, that kind of thing, right? So there's 10 questions and you just rate yourself, and it's a pretty like psychologically backed effective way of just ranking your grit. And when I do these kinds of things, especially when it was related to success, and I am successful in my 20s, which is like an extremely rare thing to be like a millionaire and stuff in your 20s, and also to have achieved goals like a long term, like bodybuilding and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, if this correlates with success, my grit is going to be super high, right? I'd do the questionnaire, and my score out of 5 was 1.7. The lowest score is 1. In the rankings that this researcher gives, the top percentile is like 4.7, so that's like the best group of gritty people. The lowest percentile is 2, or maybe even 2.5. So I'm like in the lowest of the low percentiles for grit. And if you've watched me for a while, you might even agree, thinking like, yeah, this motherfucker's not gritty at all. I change my mind all the time. I change projects and stuff. So I urge you, just go do that. And you can comment it below what your score was and what you think of it, if it feels realistic for you. And if it's super low, then you would definitely be served just getting it higher. You'd definitely be finding that valuable. So that's just something I wanted to pass on to you this morning, because whether we're doing kickboxing or we're trying to grow an online business or we're doing this or that, something like grit, where you just stick to a goal and you follow through even though you'll have setbacks and pains, and you're able to kind of refresh the motivation, something like that's definitely going to help you. I really want you to just take that seriously, because this is where your growth in your goals is going to come from. So we'll start training now. My coach is here. And then, I'll see you in a second. I've dropped a lot of weight, to be honest. I stepped on the scale the last few days at 84 now.
84?
Yeah, it's dropped down, so we can go down to like 80 something.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro, you look lean.
Yeah, it was weird. It was
Look
like
good though,
88
bro.
every day for like a while. Just randomly, it's just 84.
I've
It's
been
been like
training hard,
84 the last like 3 days in a row as well. Today was like 83.8. Like,
Yeah?
so I'll eat a little bit more.
Bro, you
'cause it
do
was,
look,
like,
I reckon you look
Yeah.
way better, bro.
yeah.
Then
yeah,
like,
yeah, I feel.
I
better,
think you look,
yeah.
but like, you kind of got a bit of a sleeper build right now though, you know? You're obviously fucking jacked as, but then as soon as you take off your top, it's like,
Lean with the 6-packs coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
and you're wide and fucking like thick through here, bro.
Yeah, man. Like when I wake up, is this that guy? Yeah. No. When I wake up, I'm like, I don't have that same like heavy feeling like I did just
bro.
like a month ago, which is nice. Like
Yeah,
I
sick.
feel lighter. It's feeling nice, man. So I'm happy at this weight, man.
Yeah, sick, bro. Good. All right, let's warm up. One. Ah, that sun is fucking putrid, bro. One. Good. 1, 2. Good. Let's get a little bit lighter on the feet. Move around a little bit. One. Good. Double. Good. 1, 2, 3. Low. Oh. Smack it a bit more, bro. Yeah. Oh, good. Jab. Good. My bad. Jab. Good. Double. Good. A little bit longer. Yep. Good. 1, 2, 3. Low. Oh, good. Jab. Good. Jab. Double. 1, 2. Good. A little bit. Commit more on that. Are your feet sore or?
No, it's all good.
Okay. Yep. Good. Yep. Yep. Good. Hand a little bit higher. 1. Good. 1. Good. Double. 1, 2, 3. Low. Boom. Good. Move around. Nice and loose. Nice and loose in the legs. Got to warm up those legs a little bit.
Yeah.
Should we go over there, bro?
Yeah, you want to? Yeah, see that.
Yeah, you know what? I also got like a feeling that like, for some reason, it just don't seem like there's like much going on with this fight night at the moment.
Yeah.
Like there's, like usually there's like a bit more like talk about it, a bit more buzz.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, is like, what's happening? Is there not much interest? Are there not
Is
that
there
many?
any matches made right now? Or?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
it's
I don't
only-
think so.
Have you
bro.
got a fight? Or?
No, bro.
But you're supposed to be on it though.
I don't even know, bro. I've put my name down, but they haven't told me.
Yeah.
Hence why I had my last little like fuck around last night.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll ask him after this.
Yeah, bro.
So, is he the one who helps with making the matches and stuff? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1. Good. 1. Good. Nice and light on the feet, yeah? 1. Good. Double. Good. 1, 2, 3. Low. Oh, good. Jab. 1, 2. Good. Again. Good. That's better, bro. That's better. Jab. Double. 1, 2, 3. Low. Ooh, beautiful. 1. Good. Jab low. Head off. Ooh, angle round. Good. 1, 2. Double. Good. Jab up 3. Beautiful. Jab up 3. Chop low. Yes. 1. Double. Double. Good. Yeah, don't rope the jab too much, yeah? Double. Good. 1 stiff. Good. Touch. Boom. Good. A little bit more stiff on that, yep. Jab. 1, 2, 3. Low. Boom. Good. 1. Good. 1. Good. 1. 1, 2. 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Low. Ooh. Jab. Double. Double. Good. Yep. Jab up 3. Good. Stay lower on that. Yep. Add a low. Head off. Good. 1. Double. 1, 2. Good. 1, 2. Tray will 4. Good. Move. 1. Good. 1, 2, 3. Pause. 1, 2. Good. I need tighter on the 3. Yeah. Tighter on the 3. Not so loose here. Yep. Good. Again. Sit lower. Fun. Good. Breathe. 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 Jab. Good. Don't jab so up. 1. Good. 1. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3. Low. Good. 1. Good. Double. Jab up 3. Jab up 3. Low. Good. One. Double. Double. Good. Again. One. Good. One. Good. Double. Jab up 3. Jab up 3 low. Good. One. Good. Double jab, right hook here. Good. Hard. Yep. Chin tucked. Nah. Let that go though. Let that go nice and loose, but tight, if you know what I mean. Like, let your shoulder go nice and loose, but don't swing it out here. There we go. Good. Yep. One. 1, 2, 3 low. Good. Jab. 1, 2. 1. Good. Move. Breathe. Breathe.
Okay. Oh, it feels good to lie down, man. Oh, so that is a full week of training done. 11 sessions, Monday to Saturday. Monday to Friday was double. Saturday we're just doing the one. We did the pads that you saw, and then we did sparring afterwards as well. And I sparred with someone completely new, who is still like a bit of a beginner. I think he's been training for about a year or so. Still like about double my time. Actually, I've only been training for about 3-4 months right now, so maybe about 3 times longer time. But obviously, I've had quite an intense training period. And yeah, it was good. James said I basically would have won every round. But the guy surprised me with a pretty heavy right hand on the last round, which I stood up. You know, I didn't fall or anything, but we were thinking like, oh yeah, that was a heavy hit, and you know, he apologized and stuff. But like, it was good because we spoke about it afterwards, and what James said was like, see, you could win every round. You were sniping him away, kicking, punching, everything. You were doing really well, but someone can just surprise you with a heavy hand, and then you can just drop, and then that round is kind of fucked for you, and you know that can change the game, so you got to watch out for that. So for next week, we have a very clear game plan. We're going to focus more on my defenses, make sure, because I have a few like holes in my game right now. We know what they are, and we're going to work on them. We're being a little bit more, or at least I am, like being a bit more secretive with like the training now, because chances are my opponent is watching these videos now to like, you know, him and his team, maybe not, but like I could imagine him and his team will be thinking like, oh shit, this guy's been vlogging his in every workout. Let's go fucking see how he trains, how he steps and everything. So we're just showing like me just on pads and whatever. And as you know, someone on pads is often not very reflective of someone when they fight. That was actually most apparent to me back in like 2022. I traveled to Thailand and I was just like I went to like a Muay Thai session. Because, you know, I've trained before this, but more like just, I wouldn't even say as a casual, just as a spontaneous activity. So I've never trained seriously, but I've had little periods where like I've traveled to Thailand and, you know, done Muay Thai like 10 times, for example. Like it wasn't my first ever session on day one of this series, but I never trained like consistently over like 2 months or anything, like, you know, serious, more than a couple hours a week. And yeah, this one time I was in Thailand and there was this girl who was on pads with one of the trainers, and she was fucking blasting it. Like, you know, when there's a loud gunshot with the kicks, and like loud as fuck, speed, everything, fucking sick, bro. I was even intimidated. Like, you know, when someone's so good on pads that other people kind of stop to look at them. Flawless, like beautiful technique. And then it's time to spar. And of course, I'm a man, so obviously it's unfair. I'm not forgetting that. But when I went against her, I was a complete beginner. She must have trained for at least months, if not even years. And no offense, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but she was so bad at sparring, so bad, so flinchy, so scared, everything. And again, maybe it's just because she was fighting a man who's way bigger than her. But obviously, I wasn't being a dick. I wasn't like punching hard. If anything, she was like punching way harder than I was. But it was just like, you know, she was so flinchy and everything. And it's fine. I'm not being insulting. I'm just saying, like, you can see someone who in pad work looks amazing and they move like this. It's all good. And then in the fighting, it's not as much. So just something to bear in mind. But yeah, my fighting skill seems to be getting better and better, like every day, feeling better, feeling like more technique, and, you know, blatant kind of like weaknesses are being spotted this week especially. So I said to James, like, we've got a bit of a game plan for next week. We're going to really deliberately focus. Like I'll make sure we deliberately focus on a few things. Like I'm going to write it up. I'm going to message James. I'm going to say, okay, this is exactly what I want to focus on. And this is really important. Honestly, you might want to like write this down or take some notes. Like a lot of people think that if you just show up, you'll make progress. A lot of people think that. You probably do as well, right? You might be confused because that's the common narrative. And it's not. Time on the mat, time in the gym, time in your work does not actually equal higher skill. People think it does. It doesn't. You know how I can tell you, and I'll give you an analogy which you'll agree. When you go to the gym or to work and you go in your car or you walk and you see all the drivers on the road, how many of them would you say are absolutely perfect drivers? Masters at driving? Probably no one, right? Almost no one you would say is like a master at driving a car, right? But most of the people that you see on the road, they've been driving thousands of hours. They've been driving for 5, 10 years, right? Like if you see some parent, like some dad with his kids or some mom with her kids or some dad driving to work or something, dude's been driving for 20 years. It's said that you can master something in 10 years. So why is he not like a twice fucking black belt at driving with the absolute most perfect skill, perfect parking, perfect like deceleration when there's a red light so his car doesn't even stop, because that way it's like a little bit more fuel efficient if your car like slows down but doesn't stop and have to kind of like start the engine again. You get my point, right? Most people are not masters at professionals at driving, but they've driven for 10 years, 20 years. It's because you only get better when you deliberately practice, not just when you show up. When you first get into a car and you're sat with your instructor or your father, you know, whoever's teaching you, your skills very quickly level up. Very quickly. Like think about the moment you get in a car, it's actually quite complicated. There's quite a lot of like random little things. But in like a few hours, you've learned, honestly, like 80% of as much as you will as like for the rest of your life. It's a pretty incredible, fast-paced learning process, right? And think about why that is. Why is driving so quick to learn that you can, in 5 hours, you can learn how to drive for the rest of your life? Because those 5 hours are deliberate practice with some kind of instructor next to you. Of course, there'll be some kid commenting like, I live on a farm and I've been driving since I was 2 months old. Yeah, sure. But on average, though, you're sat with your instructor and they're giving you constant, immediate feedback. They're deliberately practicing. They're telling you, okay, this is what we're focused on. Today we're going to do the parking. Oh, you're a little bit not confident in the roundabouts? We'll go do some roundabouts right now. That means that you excel so quickly because you have this instructor, this master, this person who's more experienced than you, observing your every pace. But what happens after you pass your driving test? No one improves their skill after that, or very, very few people improve their skill after that, right? Most people skyrocket their skill from 0 to like, let's say, level 50 by the time they pass their test. And straight after that, they kind of like slightly lose a bunch of the skills. So they're at like level 40 because you're not going to be as like autistic anymore. Who the fuck gets in and like checks all the mirrors and shit like that, bro? Like I'm just fucking getting in, loud ass music, cracking open an energy drink and just like fucking pressing reverse, like just like decelerating behind me. Like there's a little kid or a cat who gives a fuck, bro. We'll deal with it when it happens. That most people are just losing the skill. I'd say a solid like 20% of their skill after they pass their test, right? But then you could drive for 5,000 hours and you're not actually improving. Most people's skills doesn't improve. And so this actually destroys that idea of like just show up and you'll make progress. I think that is true, and you will make progress in the very, very early stages. Like if you just show up to the gym, if you just show up and try and drive, you'll make a bit of progress. But very quickly after the sort of noob gains, unless you show up with some kind of intention, you're not going to make progress anymore. Most people make, let's say, the equivalent of a couple of weeks progress and then basically make no more gains after that. So let's say with bodybuilding, if you've been thinking like your bodybuilding journey is a bit pathetic so far, you started lifting like a year ago, 3 years ago, but you still look like a little skinny, fat little Indian, like brown people physique with a pot belly. And you're like, that you see other guys who have got pretty muscular in 1 year, 2 year, nice aesthetic physiques, and you haven't. It's often because those guys, without realizing it, train with a bit of intention. They try and push themselves to like hit genuine failure. You can't mindlessly come in and train and expect to make gains after like 3 months, honestly. You have to come in with some kind of deliberate intention. Like, okay, thinking, okay, my weakness is on leg extension. I don't get close to failure because my legs burn up so much, like, the muscle burns so much. So I'm probably like still a solid 10 reps from failure. So your intention today is like just fucking learn to love the burn and keep fucking going. And if you do get to the point where you kind of stop for a second because it burns so much and you're in so much pain, sure, stop for a second, but then go again quickly whilst you're still close to failure and bust it out. Like that's your intention for this session. Or your intention is to get like the full range of motion, or your intention is the mind muscle connection. You really are trying to squeeze the exact muscle that you want to get instead of mindlessly doing it and thinking about something else. The same with kickboxing and, with martial arts. You don't just show up to the session mindlessly. You show up with this thing of like, oh yeah, my defenses aren't so good. When someone is being more dominant and pushing me back, that's when I kind of like cycle backwards with my head up too high. When I throw my jab, my arm kind of comes down first before it comes down to my face. That kind of intention is amazing for your growth and your skill acquisition. And then finally, if you can have a mentor who watches you with that intention and says, okay, today we're going to make sure when you jab, it snaps right back to your face. It doesn't kind of like cycle down a little bit. Like, it doesn't go like this. And then you have him calling you out. And as soon as you throw a jab, he's like, nah, you did it again. No, snap it back. Come on, smack it back. Do it again. No, you don't know. Snap it back. Yeah, there we go. When you have a guy doing that, you make progress. I would even argue 100 times faster than if you don't have that kind of intention. In fact, if you don't have that intention, I genuinely feel like you just don't get better, like at all. So hopefully you can just take this sort of practical lesson, which is what I've learned recently from that book that we were talking about, Grit. There's a chapter in there about deliberate practice, so that's kind of cool for you to go and read if you want to. Yeah, and it's said that you can become a master at a skill in 10,000 hours, but what they don't expand on, which is actually the truth, is to become a master at a skill, it's 10,000 hours or about 10 years, but of deliberate practice of a good few hours a day, I think it's about 4 hours a day, of deliberate practice. That's the difference, right? It's deliberate practice. It's not just show up and do 4 classes a day or just show up and do 4 hours of like entrepreneurship a day. It's deliberate practice where before the 4 hours or before the hours you go train, you literally are thinking to yourself like, yeah, what's the weakness? What do I need to level up right now? Here's a bad habit I have. Let's say it's with driving. Oh yeah, when I brake too sharply. So the next time you drive with deliberate practice, you've already gotten into your car thinking, oh yeah, don't brake so sharply because, I should brake a little bit more smoothly and with a bit more distance. And then you have that intention when you go drive and you're looking out for opportunities to use that and practice it. And if you can have someone else sat next to you doing it, that's how you become like a professional. Now, you don't have to become a professional or a master in something like driving if you don't want to. But there is something that you probably do want to master, right? There is probably some field or some career that you do want to master, so you may as well. And the final thing I'll just say is like, honestly, if you're going to do anything, you may as well keep getting better at it. Like even with driving, such a weird skill that most people would never consider leveling up past the point that they've got their license. With working, with focus, with writing, with recording videos, with whatever it is, why be complacent? Why not follow the Japanese principle of Kaizen, which is like you're just continuous improvement in everything that you do? Why not? Because either way, it's like, bro, a normal day is like tiring anyway. It's tiring, it can be exhausting, whether you have this effort or not. Like when you go to the gym, it's tiring, whether you have this intention or not. It takes a few hours out of your day, from the moment you get up from the thing you were doing before to the moment you come back, shower, and start the next thing. It takes about 3 hours out of your day, either way. So if you're going to lose 3 hours and it's going to be tiring anyway, you may as well at least change it into deliberate practice where you're not just showing up to do chest day, but you're literally going in with some kind of cue as if you are a fucking world-class bodybuilder thinking, today on chest day, I'm going to use this cue, which is instead of just pressing the weight, I'm going to focus on the intention of bringing my biceps closer together. Like that's a cue that a lot of bodybuilders use for their chest is they think about squeezing their biceps together on a chest press like this, like that. Because that gives you a bit more of a squeeze, right? So that's the kind of intention I want you to live your life with. You go into these activities that you care about with an intention like that and just see how much more enjoyable it is. Like, yeah, sure, it's more effortful, but it's an effortful thing anyway. It's just more enjoyable when you're actually making progress, right? I just don't want you to turn out like a lot of people where they make a bit of progress in the first few months of something, and then if they do stick to it, which they often don't, but if they do stick to it, they basically make no more progress for the next 5 years, 10 years. You see guys who have been going to the gym consistently for 5 years, 10 years, and they look like they've had like 6 to 12 months of gains. And it's like, yeah, sure, respect for sticking to it, but fuck me, man. Fuck me, bro. Come on. Like, isn't that just sad to see? You probably know some people, could even be your parents, who you've seen work jobs, work some career 10 years, 20 years, and they haven't actually leveled up. They learned some of the basics and then they've stayed complacent after that. Do they seem like happy people to you? Do they seem so proud and fulfilled of their work? It might seem easier to not deliberately practice and have this intention to sort of coast through life. But in the end, for those people, life is actually harder, and not in the good kind of hard way, in like the bad hard way. So I'd rather you have the harder day today with more intention and deliberate practice with what you're about to do after you watch this video. I'd rather you go and pursue that and then eventually start leveling up and actually get to the point where you're like mastering skills and you've got such fulfillment because you're genuinely like amazing at the things you do, rather than most people who just kind of stay mediocre. So that's the lesson that I was really focused on today. The concept of deliberate practice has really been in my mind, and I just wanted to pass that on to you. It's a Saturday. I've just finished my only session for the day. That's 11 this week. And so now the rest of today, I'm literally just going to stay inside and eat and put my feet up, basically. So I'm super, super tired. Going to try and aim to have like really, really nice sleep tonight as well. Do all the good habits I possibly can. Thank you for watching. Pretty sure it's day 59 today. So then I'll see you tomorrow or the day after for day 60. Goodbye.